See, there I am. Here I am. Hey guys. Hello. I'm not stupid, but I am partially stupid myself, so I'm half stupid. Okay, sorry. When we were young, they didn't give us toys to play with, so we just had to think of stuff to do all our own. Okay, so welcome. I'm Mark Black. This is Mark Teaches Music, and this is our To Play and Sing. And that doesn't seem loud enough. It's not loud enough. I don't think it is loud enough. This is our To Play and Sing. This is To Play and Sing. Oh, I know. I had it tuned down for the flute head. Had it turned down. So this is To Play and Sing. It's where you ask questions. This is our Q&A where you ask all kind of wonderful questions. And really want to encourage you. I don't need this mic. This is not the mic. I'm using this invisible mic that you can't see, which is what makes everything cool. So this is the 16th of November. This is the 24th episode of To Play and Sing at Mark Teaches Music, and I'm trying to answer every question about music there is, and really be cool. Just by the way, it hasn't happened yet, where we could get to these. There'll be absolutely so many things I couldn't possibly answer. You know, how do you file a protest at the local union? Music union against the conductor of your orchestra. Don't have a clue. You didn't know they did things like that, did you? But it'd be cool, just by the way, I'm just talking, it'd be cool to get some topics where it's like, don't really know, but know a little bit about, and again, with you guys discussing, like things that are, so things that don't know, things that do know, and then things that are kind of like, I don't know, maybe kind of, and speculate. So there's a question here today that is kind of speculative, a little bit. So anyway, so we're answering questions about how to learn, how to play, how to prepare for performances, how to be in ensembles, how to practice, all kind of different ensembles. I don't know what the first ensemble I was in. I can what pops in my head, which is not. I was in the band for years, about marching band, concert band before that, but with barbershop quartet. But anyway, so if you like this, I want you to hit subscribe. I want you to hit the bell for notifications. I want you to share this video, please do, and get other people to come, and force them to come, and then send me money, large checks. And if you're watching this not during the live, if you're doing a live stream now, you need to chat. And I hate that word. We need to interact, something, ask questions. I hate this word, chat. How are you? We need a little cups of tea. So, what did you think about that soda? I don't know. So we're not chatting. We're having really momentous discussions about things. But so you're here now live, do the chat. But if you're coming later, send me an email or drop a question. Send me an email at mark@dallasmusiclessons.com. And if you're interested in lessons, go to www.dallasmusiclessons.com. And there's stuff there, talking about lessons, and you can sign up for lessons, or you can ask about lessons, and without obligation. So anyway, without further eloquence, here we go. We're jumping in, and let's see what we got here. The first, this is the question that is, I'm surprised. I'm so surprised about this question. So I heard, this is not me talking, this is a student. So I heard from several places that an ad-lib solo should follow or include or hint at the song's melody. Is that good advice? And then they were quoting a video they had watched, on a web channel, like this, about, and the guys was going on like, yeah, that was a great solo this guy did, because he was quoting the solo, the melody, the head if it's a jazz piece, the melody if it's not a jazz piece. And so that really took me off guard. And so I not in the sense I don't have an answer for it, but in the sense of, man, that's anyway, I'm surprised that was a topic. So just, I'm not saying anything negative. I'm thinking about so in a solo, a great soloist, and you guys know, just by the way, that up until about 1900, you could say 1880, every composer And every great player was an ad libber, an improviser. Bach was famous as an improviser. J.S. Bach, J.S. Bach was famous as an improviser. And he would go to a church, and he'd be like, somebody would stand up and go, I'm not kidding. They'd stand up and go like, ba 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 ba, and then or something. And then he would go like, and then he would write a piece right there and spend 30 minutes, an hour, riffing on that piece and turn it upside down and using that piece, that little hint. And so anyway, improvising until the record nailed down a song, and you said that's how it goes. You hear Steely Dan, that's how that song goes. Instead of like, think about it. If you had a great piece by let's say a John Philip Sousa, or a great piece by Stephen Foster. I'm trying to think of, not Janis Joplin, Scott Joplin. Could be Janis Joplin, but Scott Joplin. So I'm saying, these pieces, I'm talking about, 150 years ago, it's like, how would you hear these pieces? You would hear them in a band, people reading music, not somebody with a letter perfect version. So somebody's doing it faster, somebody's doing it slower, somebody's louder, softer, all those kind of things. So anyway, so the point is, I won't go into, sorry, took too long to say that. So everybody used to ad lib, and so in jazz ad libbing, they would call it quoting, when they literally and taking the head or the parts of the melody of another song. But that means, it usually does not mean the melody. It usually means, like, in the middle of my song, I'm doing take five. In the middle of take five, I go. I do Jingle Bells, or and Paul Desmond was a great one for quoting classical pieces and stuff. Not the melody of a song, but the melody of other songs. So, and I, when I had this, I was like, talking about this question, and I was like, pondering it and listening, not hunting for, but through the week, as I was listening to different people's solos, Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie, and awesome people. I didn't listen to Larry Carlton, but Larry Carlton. Thinking of Larry Carlton, thinking of I can't think of his name. Guys, the guy with the sax solo and "Don't Let Me Be Lonely Tonight" with that sax solo. And honestly, folks, I can't think of anybody doing that. So. There may be people doing that, like that. And I think that's a very, the idea that it's totally fine in my solo. I start off my solo and I take a little reference back to the melody. I'm talking about for 4 measures or 2 measures. But think about it, folks. I was looking today at, I forgot what the piece was. It's a jazz standard. It was Horace Silver. It was Song from My Father by Horace Silver. And 18 minutes. Each solo was like 6 minutes. They were not quoting the melody. How are you going to do that for 6 minutes? If that's like the epitome of a great solo, how are you going to do that? So you're not. So I really haven't heard anybody do that. I've heard people do it a little bit. I'm talking about again I got a 16-bar solo. I might play 2 measures in a different note or different phrasing, somehow to differentiate. I'm not playing the melody because I'm ad-libbing. My purpose is to create. Ad-libbing, I'm at liberty. I'm creating something new, different, based on the chords, based on the melody perhaps, but not extensively, because the life's too short, melody's too defined. And then if we got beyond just a little 8-measure, 12, 16-measure solo, I don't really know how you can do that. And I've really not heard anybody do that other than as an unusual, way less usual than quoting. Much more frequently heard people play parts of other songs in this song, like the Flintstones. We used to be, I can't who it. Anyway, the point is they would always put a da 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 in a love song, and all I can think of is this song by Kendo. Trying to think of a beautiful love song. When I'm awfully low, when the world is full, guys ad lib and it goes da 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 da, which is quoting and is creative, but not the melody very much. So I'm sure it's done some since those guys said it, and I don't know who they were. Since those guys said it, somebody must have do it, but I surely haven't heard it very much. Okay, so that's question number one. Question number two. And I'm looking over here. I need some more chats. This is not very chatty. You guys are not chatting, man. So the question is, serious question. Can you play better if you have a beard, you wear sunglasses, or wear a cool hat? I could speak to some of you here with your cool hats. And I guess we could expand that to, how you dress and just any kind of paraphernalia, external stuff. Can you play better, sing better if you do that? And the answer, interestingly enough, is yes. If you feel cool, you feel relevant, you feel comfortable, maybe you're not comfortable you sitting in your chair at 10 o'clock at night, but you in front of an audience of, metalheads or, drunkards at a bar or a bunch of jazz fans at a music festival, whatever it is, whatever kind of thing you are, the lead singer or the bass player in a classic rock band, in front of that audience, things that make you more comfortable, feel like you are more accepted, you are cooler, can make you play better because you're more relaxed, you're more in the pocket, accepted by your listeners, accepted by your audience. You will absolutely play better and sing better when you feel the more comfortable you are. That's why the most automatically good, the people who do exactly what they meant to do the most quickly are extroverts. And extroverts, a lot of different definitions, but one of the definitions, my definition, is somebody that they don't have a wall between themselves and the outside. So they would come in and show you their crapped out room without not anything about it. Just like, yeah, and they would show you, they would say, yeah, I hadn't practiced in 3 months. And they would say, yeah, I'm getting a divorce. You'd be like, oh, don't tell me that. I want to know all that stuff, and so, but I'm not saying anything about they get a divorce. I'm just saying their life is open, and other people, introverts, I'll let you in, maybe. So anyway, so people who are open, and not as a virtue, you open thing, but just as a, they don't care that they're messing up the solo. Those people are going to immediately jump in and be big. Everybody else, which is, there's more supposedly more extroverts than introverts, but when we put people on the spot, we have degrees of extroversion and introversion, right? So you may be somewhat extroverted, but perhaps not enough to perform to your full potential. And these things help not everyone. They have to help everyone. Now, I'm not saying you need to put on a moon suit, and you're gonna have someday when I'm not saying you need to do that so nobody can see you, but I'm just saying that when you feel like you look cool, you feel like your audience accepts you, the way you're hanging out, the way you're doing stuff, it actually does help when you feel like you put, and just add in the same thing. This is a very related but slightly different. You put on sunglasses. I'm not kidding. You put on sunglasses and nobody can see your eyes. I've done this. My wife won't let me do it most of the time. But the point is you put a separation between your audience. You'll be more relaxed, And of course, you look like a guy with sunglasses now, or a girl with sunglasses. If you can pull it off, like, hey, I'm so cool. I'm Bono. I'm so cool that this has nothing to do with me being nervous. It's just raw coolness that grew these sunglasses out of the back of my head. if you look very natural with your sunglasses, then it's a good thing. Obviously with the cool hat and everything, you can look like a poser, and of course that's kind of the difficulty. But yeah, you put on sunglasses, it puts a distance because you can't tell where I'm looking. I got some sunglasses. Yep. So I put these sunglasses on. Part of it doesn't matter if I look cool or not, or you like these sunglasses. It matters I can look at my music, and I can look at my hands, and I can cry because I'm so nervous, but you can't tell. So anyway, I'm saying that, yeah, those things help. And so completely beyond how it plays, the instrument plays, these are related. So completely beyond how it plays, hey, Jeffrey, beyond how it plays, having a good instrument, forget how it plays, just that it feels solid and it keeps a tune, and when you go to the 17th fret it's still in tune and it's not buzzing and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about a good instrument, and I'm going to pull this around. New strings make you feel like you play faster. They actually, there's a couple of reasons, but the main reason is that, just by the way, new strings or clean strings don't have any gunk on them, which playing the same set of strings for a long period of time, says I who know, puts a lot of gunk on them. I won't, it's just dirt and skin particles, and you get a brand new pair of strings, or you clean those strings, and they'll feel like glass, and you're like, so you can use all these different things to help you as needed in your performance. That's not cheating. It's not cheating to do those things. It's you have a need. If you feel 5% more relaxed, 5% more in the pocket, 5% more of what I meant to do I did, then that's a real benefit. And the opposite, or the question is, okay, well, how much of it is real? And I can't answer that, and you can't either until you get out there and kind of looking at what you put up sunglasses. Say, how does that look? Do I do that? Does it look pretty relaxed, pretty normal? We'll try it. So that's not cheating, and you can use these. You can use these too much. You can use them like completely as crutches. And I would say, I don't know what percentage, because they don't. Oh, thank you, Jeff. Really, more volume. Let's try that. Ha 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 ha. Well, that's louder. Hopefully, that's loud enough. Okay. Let me turn it down in my ears. So let's see. I was saying you can use these things, you can overdo them, and I think a good, 15-20% of people who are famous, and their names, are still doing things that they started off when they were 15 and 18 and 21, doing little things to kind of help them get over, and they kind of never got rid of the crutch. But again, if you're hurt, you need a crutch. Good, thanks, Jeffrey. So when you're hurting, you need a crutch, And so I'm saying these things aren't bad. It's bad to lean on them too much. It's not bad to lean on them a little bit. And they're fine as a transition. Fine as a transition. It's really no different than playing a song. And so it's like, here's the original key. It's too high for me to sing. Let me drop it down a little bit. Here's this key. It's in the key of A flat on the guitar. Boy, this is so hard to do. If I was just doing this in A, I could do it. There's no different than doing that. Should you, like those examples, should you do that? Yes. Heck yes, you should do that for a performance. Should you do that forever, the rest of your life? Well, probably not, So anyway, don't hang on to the crutch if you can. But there's always, just period, everyone for all time. We have two worlds. We have the preparatory world, things I'm getting ready to do, things I'm learning to do, and we have the immediate world. I have to play tonight. I got to play tonight. So you got to play tonight. You're scared out of your mind. Put on a pair of sunglasses. Wear the cool hat. Get you some new strings. I should have done that 2-3 days before. And then we don't have the immediate. The immediate thing is not happening. We got the long term. Hey, it's 3 months before anything comes. Then you go back to, okay, I'm trying to get more confident. I'm trying to play faster with, without tricks and things. I'm trying to do these good things. So we always have this. What's today And if I had to perform today, I'm going to do whatever it takes to perform well today. And then as soon as that performance today is over, I go back to trying to get better and better and better and better. Okay, I'm going to let that go. Anybody has any comments? Just holla. You know to holla. All right, now my next question is, what do you get when you play? This is the question. What do you get when you play smooth jazz backwards? What do you get when you play smooth jazz backwards? Smooth jazz. Okay. What do you get when you play New Age music? Does anybody remember New Age music? What do you get when you play New Age music backwards? You get New Age music. What do you get when you play easy listening backwards? Easy listening. Now, these jokes are very musician oriented. You have to be a musician to get them. So if you didn't laugh, you know what that says about you. Okay. All right. So here's the next question. All right. Do I actually have to practice to learn? Now, I think last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, asked the question: Do I have to have a teacher? Do I need a teacher to learn? And the answer is definitely no. It's just that for most people, absolutely no. For the teacher now, you don't have to have a teacher to learn. But for most people, average people, not your dummy, you average. I just mean 100 people in a room, 85 of them will learn a lot quicker if they had somebody to teach them. Okay, now I'm off of that. I'm just giving an example. So now, do I have to practice to learn? So yes, you do, and this would be a much higher percentage, maybe more like 98, 99% of people have to practice. It's because we're not learning. Music is not about information. The information part of learning, whether you learn on your own or you watch somebody or taught, it doesn't matter. The information part of music is very small. It's 5%, it's 10% of the overall thing. It's more like something, and it is. It's like somebody says, or you got a book, or listened to a guy, and he said, "Oh, he's using this scale, or he's playing the blue note, or he's bending the notes, or he's sliding all over the place, or he's tapping, or he's double tonguing, he's in the altissimo register, And here's the fingering. Bought a book. The book says to finger like this for the altissimo register. Unfortunately, that is only the gateway to all the things you want to do. That information, you should do this. You need to do this. You need to play smoother. Here's how you play faster. Unfortunately, you're going to have to play fast for 2 months to 10 years. You're going to have to do the physical skill. You're going to have to develop that physical skill that you now have information about. So what I'm saying is, the reason you have to practice is because you have to take that information to do so and so. Use the forked F fingering instead of the side key or whatever. Use the side key instead of the forked F. Like that. You have to do that a bunch, and usually not dozens, but hundreds and thousands of times until they become natural and physical skills. So we're taking intellectual skills, oral skills. I hear this is a so-and-so chord. I hear the sevens in the chord. I hear it, but now can I get to it? And that kind of stuff. So now I just want to comment. Playing is practice. So it's just a very, very light, watered down practice. So just taking an average rehearsal, depending on the band or the group. I'm saying if it's a concert band versus a rock band, you might get out of a 3-hour rehearsal, that would be long for a concert band and middle for a rock band. You might have actually played 2 hours, probably a little more in the concert band. I'm not trying to get these exactly right. But, a whole bunch of what you're playing is what you already know. There's a great benefit in playing with that group, and one of them is the biggest one is the idea of not stopping. And I'm talking about it like I got to figure out what to do to keep going. I messed up, measured 15, and the band didn't just stop, turn around, and look at me and restart. They just kept on trundling on, whether it's like I said, a rock band or a jazz combo, or if it's a concert band with 60 other people. They kept on going along, and I have to figure out where I'm supposed to be. And so you learn the idea of not keeping on going. Yes, and if it's a smaller group, it's like, how do I disguise my mistake so I don't screw up these other guys? And of course, the same thing in that it translates, of course, all the way down to just you. So anyway, saying you in that. So practicing, playing is practicing. It's just that it is a very weak practice. And because it is a weak practice, that is, I'm saying, so you practice for 3 hours, you actually had your horn or instrument in your hands, playing it for 2 hours, you maybe got 30 minutes practice compared to sitting down, and I'm going to play my scales and, whatever, learn this lick, actually working on things. And the exception, there are very, very few super, we can just call them virtuosos, but really it's more like the super virtuosos, just in the sense of, so if you looked at the top people, there's a whole lot of different personalities up there, kinds of, not just personalities, but the way they're succeeding. And I'm just commenting on Tommy Emmanuel versus B.B. King. There's a whole lot of skill, like hard playing, in Tommy Emmanuel's, and there's a whole lot of, I mean, it's in a good sense, attitude in B.B. King. It's like, wow, that's really cool what he did. But on the other hand, a lot of the things that he did, you could do, I could do, and it's like, it's how he did it, but it's him doing it. And maybe he was the first person to do it, or maybe he does it, but you look at something by Tommy Emmanuel or something by Larry Carlton, and it's like, there's not a whole lot of people can do that, period. So anyway, so I'm just saying, here are these great people, and they have different ways of being great, Is it because they have a big old attitude and they're just up there, and you're like, okay, this is great, or is it because they're super skilled? Anyway, so among those top people, some percentage of them are truly amazing musicians. They're not just great performers with a great attitude or aggressive, that kind of stuff. They are like, not a lot of people can play like them. A lot of those guys, when they practice, when they perform, they are on the edge. They're like, I can just barely do this, and I'm doing it. I'm doing what I can just barely do, pushing the envelope, and not playing within, not backing down just a tad, so they can be sure to do it well. So that is the exception in the idea that performing and practicing. Performing or practicing with others is not. It helps you, but it doesn't help you near as much. So a very, very tiny percentage. I mean, like 5,000 people on the earth or something. When they play just as good as it's possible to play, and they may make mistakes to them that we will not hear as a mistake, but they will. Okay, so I guess I have time for one more question. This is a humongous question, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it here. I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this one just because looks like maybe it's a shorter question. And it is, can I come back after a long break and still play well? And the answer is yes and no. It seems like, and I've taken various kinds of breaks, various lengths of breaks, several years and more. I mean, depending on what we're calling a break. I don't think I've ever had a time when I'm not doing any music at all, but not playing this instrument, not playing this style, not playing, not reading notes, and my degree's in oboe, right? So, not reading notes or, not reading chords, just reading notes, and so, so when you take a break, and what basically can you take can when you come back can you take a break and come back and not have and still come back pretty good. So again, it's yes and no. So part of it, I gave the example in the improvisation workshop. I think it was yesterday, and is that maybe it's a student. Anyway, the point is, it's like when you practice on things, it's like you're teaching your hands. It's like you're making an impression in Play-Doh, or not Play-Doh. What's that? Silly putty, but in plastic. And you're working, and you're learning, and you're like, oh, I got to do this and do it just like this, and fingers are light, fingers are curved, fingers are, this is the fingering I'm using, and you're all like that, and you make this impression in this plastic. And when you leave, I'm talking about the minute you leave, the minute you quit playing that impression starts fading. It starts fading. And it's like all the things you work to get, they're slowly going away, And some of them are very, very quick. It's like I played it yesterday, I can't play it today. And some of them are like very slow. I can still play this scale, these scales, whatever. It all depends on. A lot of it depends on your personality. A lot depends on your physical skill. A lot of it depends on how long you're away, how much you practiced. Did you practice for 30 years and now you're taking a 2-week break? It's probably not going to be a big hurt, But the things that you are just grasping, just touching, those things will be gone. On the other hand, it's sort of like when you do come back, it's sort of like you blazed a trail. It's sort of like you left markings in your body, in your singing, in your ear, in your thinking. That is, so when you come back and you're kind of like, well, how did I do that? And there's kind of like a little note there inside of you. It's like, oh, I need to relax my hands and not be tight. And I'm not saying that I'm not talking about a thought process as much as a physical skill. So there seems to be a leaving of physical skill there, that it didn't just disappear. When you don't play or sing or practice for a long time, you definitely are losing some things. And I mean, like, it ain't pretty, So, but it seems like they come back quicker than when you made them. So if you got to here and then you stop practicing, let's just say you stop practicing for a year. So you're going to start back, and you're going to start back here, but you're probably going to get back up to here quicker than you got there the first time. Another thing that I think is very fascinating, which I do understand it, but I find it interesting, is that a lot of times you'll be working on stuff and can't get this little thing to work out. And I'm not talking about a song, I'm talking about like a concept, like it doesn't, it's well, every time I ever say tapping in anything, I just say it every time. So tapping, it's like you're working on tapping, or you're working on understanding some particular chord or some particular relationship, and you can't quite get it. And almost every time in all the different areas that is music and playing, a couple of those areas come back from not playing, not practicing, not working on stuff, not singing, and a couple of those things will have kind of slipped into place. And so a couple of those things out of 10 or 15 things will be like, hey, that's better now, surprise. In general, you definitely have to come back. You definitely have to work again. And then second, it's not as bad as it was. It's not as hard as it was, because there's a little breadcrumb trail of in your body, in your thinking. And now I just want to say, I'm 64, and I think at some point I'm going to get old, and I'm sure at some point, just your natural, your body kind of, the long landing coming down can meet your practice in trying to get better, practicing trying to get better, and then just physical, life can kind of meet, and it's like, hey, your body's saying it's time to shut down over the next 20 years, and your brain and your muscles and stuff are going, no, we're gonna learn to play, learn to tap, we're gonna learn to play better. I'm just commenting. I'm sure that must happen. Obviously, you've probably seen, and I certainly have seen, a lot of old guys that play really great, and I've seen a lot of old guys that or sing really great, and then a lot of old guys that can't do what they used to do, and not just like it was incredibly world class. Now it's just world class, but not quite, But like, no, they were here. Now they're like this, I'm just talking, not trying to discourage anybody. Just I'm painting a picture. Originally, it was almost like a perfect world. You just quit playing and come back and like, oh yeah, your body goes, yeah, hey, we're all back, And I'm sure that's not an indefinite truth, but I think for most people, for 95% of people, you lose a lot of things, but they'll come back more quickly if you come back. Okay, I think I'll let that go. So I'm still Mark Black, and this is still Mark Teaches Music. And let's see what. And this is to play and sing. It's a Q&A every Wednesday night at 7. You should invite people. You should subscribe. You should donate stocks and different things to me. And if you're interested in lessons, go to www.dallasmusiclessons.com. If you got questions, since the live chat is over, you can either leave a question on the channel or you can send me an email at mark@dallasmusiclessons.com. I appreciate you being here. Think of questions. Send me questions. And which is what people do. And it's a good thing. So do all that stuff. And as always, until I see you again, I want you to have fun and be awesome. I know you can. See ya.